Hello everybody, this is low tide, Monday morning, 7:35. We are on the beach. We're about to go for a walk on the beach. Yes, we have our shutters up. Yes, we have our water. Yes, we are taking care. We want to let all our friends and family know that we've been through this before. Hey, this is where we live and everything is going to be all right. Sometimes the news tends to escalate a few things, but here in Melbourne and on the coast, we're going to be just fine. Thank you for your concern, and breathe deep now, okay? It's okay. Hello everyone, my name is Athena Allen, and this is September 2nd, Monday, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, just before the storm is supposed to hit. Hurricane Dorian is supposed to hit at about 12 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Most of everybody, all the businesses is closed down. Some restaurants were open, thank goodness, and especially the gas stations are open. That's great. We are prepared, as you can see in the photos. We made sure our shutters are up, our patio furniture is in. We've got all our water, we've got all our food, we've got our generator for our refrigerator, and some fans in case the electricity goes out. There's something magnificent that's happening in the city of Melbourne that I live in. There is electrical trucks. There is tree trimming trucks that are coming into the city from all over the other states to come to help us in the state of Florida in a state of emergency. When the trees come down on the power lines, they're there to cut the trees away, and then the power guys are there to put them back up. So we have abundance of help. I want to let you know that. And I want to assure you that we are safe. I also wanted to tell you a story, a kind of a heartfelt story that happened to me last Hurricane Irma. I was driving home from the restaurant. We had just boarded it up and made sure that all the food in the freezer was going to be okay, and all the food that was in the refrigerator was thrown away so it didn't spoil, because we were supposed to supposedly be away from the restaurant for 3 days or so. Well, on my way home, I passed by the airport, and I also passed by a health clinic. Apparently, the health clinic just let go of all their patients, and a lady was walking away from the health clinic, traveling north, and walking with like a knapsack by her side. And it was the beginning of Hurricane Irma winds. This was the day before, and the day after is when the winds started to really come. So the day before we were a little bit more safer, and seeing this person walking by herself with no car around, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what I thought. I just immediately did a U-turn, turned around, and rolled my passenger window down and asked her, does she need a ride anywhere? And she looked at me, and hopefully she trusted me enough, and she got into the van and said, yes, I do, if you can take me to the nearest shelter. Well, I proceeded to get onto my cell phone and call the nearest shelters, but in the meantime, I wanted to take her home. I said, are you hungry? Let's get something to eat. And basically, I took someone off the street to help them out. Her name was Sarah, and comes to find out, she had come down from, I think it was Ohio State or some northern state, to Florida to live with her boyfriend. And that boyfriend, when she got to his apartment, was sleeping with another woman. Needless to say, she left, and she had an anxiety attack, and it captured her breast so much that she turned herself into a hospital in Rockledge. And that hospital in Rockledge knew that the storm was coming and transferred her to a Melbourne clinic. And they didn't transfer her back to where her vehicle was. They just said goodbye. She didn't have any money for transportation to get back up there. And we were in the process of finding her a place a shelter in Melbourne. Well, comes to find out, there was no homeless shelters. The shelters, women's shelters, the other shelters that were supposed to be open had closed for the hurricane, and the temporary shelters were not open yet. So I fed her, made sure she was well fed, and she told me the story about where her vehicle was. She's got all her possessions in her vehicle, and it was up in Rockledge in the hospital parking lot, and she was perfectly fine and everything. And I thought to myself, you know what, let's go up there and drive her up there to her vehicle, because there's nowhere else place around. And sure, she could have stayed with us, but it would be, if she would feel more secure with her person to get into her possessions. So we found a shelter for her up there in Rockledge so she can go to when it opened up. In the meantime, I'm thinking to myself, I'm walking in, I'm talking to my mom and my husband about this, and I said, listen, we got to go and drop her off to her car. It's important to her, and I want to do this for her. And then I get lashback from my family. It's 75-mile-an-hour winds out there, and it wasn't. It was blowing maybe 30 mile an hour on the freeway and stuff. It was perfectly fine. The storm really didn't hit us tremendously until the next day, but we didn't know that because we were hearing all these things on the news, and I just didn't want to freak out. I felt within myself that I needed to get her to where she can feel safe and secure, and that's all I thought about. I told them, I said, Mom, hubby, look at me. I know this seems irrational right now, but something in me is telling me to please trust me and help me help this girl out. So my husband said, I'm going with you. So what I did was I packed her lunch. My husband is so wonderful in preparing food ahead of time. So he prepared a big bowl of his famous chili, which was awesome, by the way, for 3 days. And so I made her a care package, and we got in the truck and drove up to Rockledge. Now, Rockledge is about 45 minutes from Melbourne north. So we drove up the freeway, and yeah, there were winds blowing around, and when you looked up into the sky, there was a swirling dark mass, but it really wasn't that windy yet. Not like the Bahama hurricane winds, okay? It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't as bad until the next day. So we got up there to the hospital, got her to her truck and all her possessions, found a shelter that was close by at a public elementary school. It wasn't quite opened yet, but she was able to stay there and wait till it did open so she can stay there overnight. And then my husband and I left. I gave her my phone number. She texted me back that she was perfectly safe. And then my mom, my husband, and I stayed through the week's ordeal with Hurricane Irma, and this was 2 years ago. We were out of power for, I think, 4 days. We found the local ice distributor, put everything on ice, and at one time, the food isn't the worst when the power goes out. It's being in this suppressed heat and having no air conditioner. So what we did is we laid on ice packs throughout the night, and we bought a battery-operated fan and blew that thing on us, which didn't blow that very far, and kept all the windows open, which were just like a moist heat, and the moist heat kind of weighs down on you. But the whole point of this story is I just went with my gut. It made me think about somebody in need, and when somebody's in need, I just had a desire that I needed to be there for that person, and that it was given freely. I didn't expect anything of her return. I always put money aside. I work in a restaurant. I have cash available, and I put the cash in the care package, and I just said, pay it forward. Just pay it forward to someone that you come along the way that is going to help you you're going to need to help them along. And I know for a fact that I gave her a chance to move forward and some hope, even though she had a little tragedy in her life, to move forward. I got a text from her about 6 months after that she was doing good, and that was nice to know about that person. I just wanted to share that with you, a nice hurricane story, and to know that friends and family, we're safe, we're doing good, and thank you for all your concerns and all your prayers. God bless.